So, thanks for joining the call. We've all got quite busy calendars, so thanks for finding the time that works. With Team Capable, it's actually proven even more tricky this week, as our colleague Jeff, who was initially going to be joining us, he lives in Japan, and since it's 9 p.m. in Japan for him, and of course it's Valentine's Day. Jeff couldn't make it. Understandably, he didn't want to set up a laptop at a restaurant table and chat with us whilst he's on his Valentine's date. I'm sure his girlfriend wouldn't be best pleased. So instead, we've got Jack, the founder of Capable, here. And of course, timings have been a bit tricky for him as well. His flight back from Germany last night was delayed to this afternoon. So he's currently joining us live from an airport departure lounge. So let's hope we don't hear his name being called for his last boarding call during the call. So fingers crossed. As you know, I'm James, and I run the marketing alongside Jack for Capable. We thought it would be a great opportunity to bring all the Codegeist 2024 winners together for a conversation to talk about our submissions and about the competition in general. It's a great competition with a lovely community, and we wanted to celebrate this, share some tips and tricks, challenges, and hopefully encourage future submissions as well. Without further ado, let's start with our conversation. We're going to begin with a quick introduction to who we are, who we have on this call, and then we'll move on to the submission. I'll move us onto the submission discussion after that. So I think we'll start with Julian. If you could just give us a real quick intro to yourself, your app name, and the category in which you won, and then I'll pass the virtual microphone on to the next team. So fire away.
All right. Hey, guys, I'm Julian. I've been in the Atlassian ecosystem for nearly 10 years now. Currently, I'm supporting Seibert Group as a technical coordinator. Years ago, I've started as a developer for Confluence Server. Then I moved over to Data Center, then Connect. And nowadays, I'm helping our many development teams that are working for Seibert or venture companies on their journey from Connect to Forge. Which is why, during a backpacking tour through Thailand and Laos, I used the time to check out some new APIs, and I built Runbook Rabbit, which is the name of the app, for the Codegeist in the category High Velocity Service Management.
Fantastic. Great. That's a great intro. Be interested to hear about your backpacking experience as well, maybe at some point. I've also been to Laos, so very cool. Good opportunity to do some work on that. Awesome. So on to the next people. So the next team, I'll hand over to SaaSJet. We have Stepan and Halyna representing them. I'll let you decide which one of you, or if you both want to give an introduction of yourself and your app name.
All right. So I'm Stepan. I'm a CPO at SaaSJet. So I run the product office here. And SaaSJet is a platinum marketplace partner for Atlassian right now. We have like around 20 different apps. And our app winner is Campaign Analyzer. And the category is Executive Strategy and Planning. Also, we built a small robot agent for this app, and it also got winner as a bronze. Someone did better job. So the app is for marketer to make the campaigns more effective and actually analyze them.
Fantastic. Sounds super interesting. Looking forward to hearing more about that. Brilliant. Okay, and on to Faisal. Over to you to introduce yourself and the name of your app.
Yeah, thanks, James. So I am a standalone developer in Vassal, and it was quite unexpected for me, the decision to try myself in the pretty new area of the software development, and especially in some kind of Codegeist. I am like a regular software developer. Start my just trip from the Angular and also developing my other aspects, like in other frameworks like React, and also touched the backend side. And yeah, and with my colleague, so we tried to find maybe some solution, because like he's working all like engineer manager, and I am working as a software developer in on the main project, and we uh, trying to be up to date and have a lot of dependencies between components in the company, and especially on the project. So we built a lot of stuff, especially for the UI, and have a lot of relations between the UI part, backend, dozens of microservices. And we thought about like, why don't just to create maybe some add-on in Confluence for Jira, especially, like which will help us to keep it up, the status of the components and all the stuff. So we find like that there is a solution, but we can improve that. The our add-on calls like Compass Whiteboard that allows us to track the dependencies between the components. It is used and was created specially and will be helpful for developers, for engineering managers, because they should know how the model works entirely. So if we're talking about like a huge application or cluster of applications, so we should easily to know like what like this component touches and relates to other components in the big system. So yeah, and we like found like a pretty straightforward solution for that, that inherits like C4 model. Yeah.
Fantastic. Yeah, it seems like you've got a really good understanding of kind of what's needed by developers, and you've been able to react to that in a really well-informed way. Fantastic. Thank you very much. So
Thanks.
yeah, and last but not least, over to Jack for a quick introduction to himself and images for Confluence.
Thanks, James. Yeah, my name's Jack, and I'm the founder and CEO of Capable. And similar to Julian, I've been in the Atlassian sphere for about 10 years, roughly, which is good and bad, a bit scary. Yeah, and our app was called Capable Images for Confluence, and we won first place in the Teamwork Foundations category. And the app was around solving the problem of where are all your images and your assets in Confluence. And I think we've all been through that hassle of where's that image that I stored on my hard drive somewhere, or Dropbox. So yeah, looking forward to sharing a bit more about that. And nice to be in a great group of people here.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Jack. So yeah, now on to our submission discussion. I'm going to ask each team 2 questions for you to answer back to back. So yeah, if I'll pass it into one team, they can answer 2 questions. Next team, 2 questions. If you have more than one person in your team, feel free to share the answers between you. And the questions are, number 1, what problem were you aiming to solve with your app? And number 2, what challenges did you face whilst creating your submission? So we'll go with the same order. So yeah, starting again with Julian with that first question. What problem were you aiming to solve with your app Runbook Rabbit?
Yeah, what Runbook Rabbit does is pretty straightforward, I think. Part of my job is that I'm in contact with many different development teams and many different companies, and sometimes I have to raise an issue at a service desk, and usually that works good. But what annoys me is when I have to tell the other company, like for example Google Cloud or many of the other companies we are working with. What annoys me is when I have to explain them their own products and their own APIs, and this really costs time. And then I'm always like, well, don't they have a runbook? Don't they have a documentation for their own things? And then you have to explain it to them, and this is what Runbook Rabbit tries to address. It shows a runbook next to the issue that the administrator can configure, and then it automatically highlights the relevant parts of that runbook, even if it's like a very long text. So the person on the other side does not even have to read through all of it. It automatically highlights that. And by using Rovo, even it shows a hint what the supporter should do next. So it's pretty straightforward, and I think if you have a look at the screenshots, it's pretty clear what it does. You have the Jira issue on the left and the runbook on the right that automatically updates every time something happens within the issue.
Fantastic. And yeah, did you have any challenges that stuck out when you were creating your submission?
Yeah, the first obvious challenge I had was the Wi-Fi connectivity allow, to be honest. From time to time, it was not good enough for a pnpm install command or a forge deploy. But apart from that, I figured that out. Apart from that, it was a bit tricky to support rich text formatting for that runbooks, because usually runbooks are not just like plain text. They have tables, they have lists, they have unordered lists. And obviously, Atlassian offers a component for that. We all know it, the editor. And it's a bit tedious to work with their format. And they have great tooling for it, but it's sometimes it feels it's not meant for public for you to be used by partners. So we really have to dig through their libraries and have to read the documentation that is written in their JavaScript files or TypeScript files. And this was kind of a challenge, but I'm lucky that I've been in this ecosystem for a few years and I know the tricks here and there. And yeah, this was one challenge. And another one was the usual prompt engineering. I really wanted to use Rovo for the AI part so that it's a runs on Atlassian app. And then I had to really spend some hours finding the right prompt to get good results for different scenarios in the issues.
Brilliant, yeah, and yeah, I know the pitfalls of connectivity in Laos. So yeah, that makes complete sense. You probably had to find some sort of maybe go to a public space like an airport or something just to get their Wi-Fi for a bit. Fantastic. So yeah, on to the next team. So team SaaSJet with their app Campaign Analyzer. I don't know who wants to take the question, but yeah, the question is fantastic. So yeah, Stepan, what problem were you aiming to solve with Campaign Analyzer?
Yeah, one day we got the email from Halyna, actually, that she found a good idea, and from her basically life, because she's a marketer, she managed marketing department, and what we believe there is a gap. So between the information of what the efforts marketers did and the information, what the results they get. So referring to the work in Jira, so marketers are working on the tasks, and they are, I don't know, preparing the posts, emails, articles, everything. And the success for company is that the focus on the right work. So they should do the right work that provide the higher results, right? So they should know somehow that they should spend the less time and get the more results. And this is the key point here. So we wanted to synchronize the time log that people, marketers, did, and the result that Google Analytics shows for the particular campaign. So, for example, if they have been working on some article or an emails and stuff like that, so it's a work for one campaign, some supporting some features, for example, right? So they spend like 50 hours to do everything, to do all the Jira tasks. And then they can, in the campaign analyzer, they can connect this campaign from Google Analytics and visualize. So what they get, how many new traffic they receive, how many returned users, or what's the income even, and all the KPIs that we are looking for. And then we can compare that here we spend like 15 hours of work, right, for the marketers, and we get, I don't know, 100 new users, and here we spend like 20 and we get like 200. So this is the biggest thing we try to achieve, to visualize this effort versus result topic here. And this is what we did. We do believe that in future we can actually synchronize other tools like HubSpot and MailChimp in order, because the campaigns are running on a different tools. So we do believe we can synchronize it and compare the efforts, which is in Jira, to the result, which is everywhere, like YouTube and other platforms. And speaking about the challenges, I I can't say we have a lot. We had a lot, but the thing, mostly of them were about were, were quite technical, because we were working with permissions. You know, the Google Analytics has permissions, and the Jira has permissions. So we had the challenges, right? What to show? Is it okay to display the data for user, which don't have access to Google Analytics, for example? And is it clear enough for users how to select this campaign? And what if they don't log time in Jira? Is it okay if it just is zero, but the campaign has some results? So, uh, as I said at the very beginning, so Halyna and the team, they are kind of working on this on a daily basis. They try to analyze what the result provide the higher KPIs, like what helps them to achieve the success. And the consulting from their side was quite valuable, because we always can get kind of to the real user, say, what do you think about these KPIs? And they say, oh yeah, this is very cool, because everyone is interested in kind of new users, returning users. So that was really helpful. Yeah, that's about the app.
Fantastic, and yeah, I think that's a really interesting concept, to be able to monitor the amount of resources that are going into different campaigns. Really, really useful, because it's sometimes quite hard to quantify how much, whether it's resources, money, time, team members to put into different channels based on the kind of the returns. So yeah, that's I think that's a really great
and
idea.
even more like teams. Anyway, everyone do it, right? So the marketing teams should measure it somehow. So they measure some views or traffic or anything, but it's hard. The missing part is to compare with the time log. And for us, that's really important to have this comparison in our app.
Yeah, very interesting. Yeah. Something that, I think we'd like to try, perhaps. Brilliant. Well, on to Vasil with his app Compass Whiteboard. So first question to you, Vasil. What problem were you trying to solve with the app?
So I got to know that like almost all the Atlassian products are something behind the closed doors, and I had to go with extra mile and spill the beans, reveal the secrets. So I wanted to extend the current functionality that provides from out of the box. And as I said, that in a huge projects, it's quite important to track all cross dependencies between the components, between some services, in order to work together pretty well and be standalone and scale out service. So we were wondering to resolve like the cross dependency problems, because like in the solution from Compass out of the box, they doesn't allow us to track the hierarchy of components. So like if we have like A to B, C dependencies, so we only can track like one type of dependency and only one level. So, and we wanted to tune it up and provide more descriptions and informations at the one screen to add more flexibility for users, for managers, engineering managers, and developers itself. Yeah, but pretty straightforward and quite weird and odd to know that Atlassian was not didn't develop it yet and improve that. But yeah, for me and for us, it was like a great chance to prove that so it works, and we had a crack at. Like speaking about like challenges, so like we used pretty ready technologies like from Atlassian, Atlaskit, and Forge API. But like the cross dependencies and dependencies within PM packages is pretty painful and fully pain in the neck, because like Atlaskit uses not the latest version of React, and on top of that, like we had to align this cross dependencies issues, breaking changes, so on. Also, I remember that we had problems with the API Forge problems because it's really poor, and the documentation does not reveal like how it should work. So, and what should it return in the API calls. Yeah, and also challenges was related especially to the React flow, because it's huge, it's very overhead, and like the public APIs are very like wide, and yeah, we had to like create some wrappers around it in order to work properly and not to intend more boilerplate in the application.
Brilliant, thank you very much. Yes, I'm sure if anyone was to hear that, they'd be able to any kind of budding software developers trying to use Forge, they'll be able to use your words there.
Yeah.
They probably probably relate to them as well. Fantastic. Well, yeah, and last but not least, over to our capable representative with images for Confluence. So yeah, first question: what challenges sorry, that's not the first question. What problem were you aiming to solve with images for Confluence, Jack?
Sure, yeah, I think first of all, I completely agree. Atlaskit can be sometimes difficult to work with. So yeah, the problem we were trying to solve was we commonly had this problem. What I'm seeing is we all solve problems that we actually faced or we saw our customers facing. In Confluence, you can add an image to a page, but it's just a file upload box. So there is no way of like pulling images from, say, Unsplash or storing a set of assets on there. And what I found was we had images in Slack channels, we had images in Dropboxes, Google Drive. And what would really help for us was having a centralized image library in Confluence, and being able to have things like folders for our headshots, our YouTube thumbnails, our marketing materials. So yeah, that's what we built. Basically, we built an image library for storing things, and you can basically insert these from a macro. So you type /image, you press enter, and it will pop up a window with all your images that you've uploaded to it. So yeah, really quite probably one of the more simple kind of problems we were trying to solve with our product, I think.
Thank you. And yeah, any challenges there with creating it apart from the one you mentioned at the start there with the platform?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. One of the things was the file upload. So we actually do some compression to the images that get uploaded currently, because Confluence has quite a limited space. If you don't have premium, you don't get too much space. So we actually did some optimization to the images there. We also found we used indexing, so custom content indexing, which currently isn't in Forge yet. So we had to use the Connect modules kind of feature of Forge. So we're hoping that we can move off of that when they have this as a fully fledged feature. And I'd say the final piece was something that we had to kind of change our expectation. We initially set out to have a fully recursive folder structure, so you could have folders within folders within folders, right? But we had to change our requirements because that had too many problems for our MVP to make sense. So out of the box right now, we only have sort of one level of folders. So yeah, I think the thing we learned from that is that you don't need to build every single feature that you set out to build, right? You can actually be dynamic, and if it's going to take too long, maybe you should kind of cut that down a little bit. Be pragmatic about things.
Brilliant, thank you, Jack. Yeah, and to kind of add on to what you were saying with the premise of solving the problem of scattered assets on different platforms, I think it kind of opens up Confluence to be used as for marketing teams potentially, because previously Confluence hasn't been particularly strong with image management, and now we can kind of transform it into somewhere to not only store but share those images quite dynamically across pages, and yeah, have that ability to kind of like very quickly even upload from your phone. Jack used an example in a presentation he did the other day where he actually took a photo of the people at the presentation on his phone and then uploaded it to Confluence via there, refreshed it on the laptop screen behind him, and there the image was in a folder. And if you had a marketing executive back at the office who wasn't at the event, they'd be able to then access that image very quickly and drag it into a page. I think Confluence is very good for the brainstorming and the kind of idea implementation and the strategizing, and just as a general place to kind of put your notes. But when it comes to taking content into deliverable, that's where there's that missing link. So that was another problem we were trying to solve there. Fantastic. So now on to the noteworthy non-winning submissions. So I let everyone know to kind of have a look at some submissions that didn't win, that took their eye. Let me know if you want to share your screen. If you don't have to. But yeah, if you had it in front of you, you could. But no worries if you can't. Just an opportunity to talk about something, an app that you like the look of that didn't win. So we'll start with Julian again.
Yeah, sure. Unfortunately, I can't share my screen right now because I'm not using Zoom very regularly, and it's missing the permissions. However, it's a great question because there are so many submissions that are very good. Obviously, not everyone can win. It must be a hard job to find the best ones. One that really stood out for me was the submission better email notifications for Confluence, because that is addressing a problem that I've always had with Confluence and Jira Cloud products, that I get dozens of emails every day from different Confluence and different Jira sites, and they all look the same, and I always have to check from which company that email comes from and what this is about. And this app Finally, also addresses very famous customer wish to customize those emails. Also, they are offering what you see is what you add editor, and I kind of feel with the developers who have to build stuff like that. And what it's offering is that you can customize the emails Atlassian is sending to you, and you can use your own logo. And they are even in using AI to build meaningful summaries from the context that trigger the email. And yeah, it's just a really good app. I think if this app were on the marketplace, it could be a great success. Yeah, you should definitely check that out. Better email notifications for Confluence. Looks good.
Fantastic. Yeah, we'll be sure to check that one out. Brilliant. Yeah, on to the next, the SaaSJet team there. I don't know who wants to take it, but yeah, far away with an app that you felt was particularly stood out.
Okay, I'll try to share. Okay, or please share your screen. Now it has too many settings.
Don't worry.
Okay,
if you can't.
sorry, because it requires me to do some settings, so it might take some time.
I sprang it on you, so don't worry.
Yeah, so I personally like, because I've been running through all the participants, and I personally found a really nice app which called Mini Kanban for Confluence. I really like the problems that that has some gaps, and they are small. I personally really like these small apps. And what the person, I mean, the person who actually created this app, he shows that you can basically organize the Kanban board on a Confluence page. So why? I'll share it here. Yeah, you found it. So it is. I think it's very important for some small projects or initiatives like cross department initiatives, when you have some kind of company initiatives, when you need to involve, for example, legal, marketing, and development, and others departments, and you need to track your progress on this initiative. And from my experience, it's always really huge document that you try to build some table, put the status there, like change this status, put the comments, provide the additional information, link the issues. Then people sometimes create own issues within this initiative, and you can lost of them, and it's always kind of quite messy. So that's why I think that's a very good point to have this very good app, to have this to run cross-department initiatives in a Confluence and have those issues in front of everyone in a Confluence, because not all the people in a company working on a Kanban board. So, for example, legal and other may not have such setup in their regular work. And this view, I mean, to do in progress done, which is very straightforward, it is easy to organize the work with different people within one organization to achieve some goals. So I really like the idea.
Fantastic. Yeah, that's another one we'll be checking out. It's any way to kind of link Jira and Confluence together in a more dynamic way is definitely a way forward when you've got people that are just used to Confluence as opposed to kind of literate across various apps. It's a nice way of kind of getting everyone included who maybe aren't trained or adept at Jira. Interesting, fantastic. And on to Vasil. Have you got an app that particularly thought looked amazing that didn't win any prizes?
Let me share my screen. So I have to do a lot of actions. Let's
No problem if
I'm
you
sorry.
can't. Not the end of the
I'm
world.
sorry. I have to allow it on my Mac to
It might
reopen and
be
reshare.
that you could mention your what app you're thinking, and then Jack could maybe potentially find it and then share his screen.
Yeah. I can share like the link. So it's called Pipeline Optimizer. If you don't mind, I will share a link here. So like
Fantastic.
why I did mention about like this one because of like in the software development you are used to like use a lot of things to improve your code quality, and so and sometimes it can take like half an hour to check all the code and proceed all the tests, or like fulfill the pipeline. And this kind of tool could help just improve your entire process, like preliminarily fix some things that went wrong. For example, like Sonar sometimes can take like up to 10 minutes to check all your code and the coverage. And like some kind of pipeline optimizer really can provide a new lease on life. But yeah, like a lot of things needs to be improved here. But yeah, idea is quite interesting, especially for me as a developer, because like optimization of the development process is quite important for delivering the goods in time, and especially for the products that are already in production.
Fantastic. Yeah, that seems super cool. Trying to optimize your pipeline in the best way possible. Fantastic. Yeah, and then on to Jack. So, what's your chosen app, and yeah, why?
Yeah, well, there was so many to choose from, right? It was difficult to pick just one app, but I've got one that I have installed somewhere. I can show you. So this is the project that I picked to highlight. It's called Visual Backlog for Jira. If you've used advanced roadmaps, or I can't remember what they're calling it now, Jira plans, you'll probably be familiar with this kind of structure where you can kind of visualize your dependencies. So I've actually got a tiny little demo here. So you can see I have my issues and I have these dependencies, and I can show either just the dependencies or I can show the parents as well. So it really quickly lets you kind of visualize how things are dependent on other things. And you can easily come in here and add. So I can add another dependency here. I could say this blocks that. And you can see it's like, I love visual tools. I love things like this where it's visualizing things. And it also works with like pinch to zoom, and you can scroll around, you can zoom around. Yeah, I thought this was really cool. I think they're using a library called React Flow. I think this is what this looks like to me. But yeah, it looks, I think this is really useful. And I believe this is actually on the marketplace already. So you can give this a go yourself if you have Jira. So yeah, I thought this was really good, visual, good looking, and actually helpful for us, I think, looking at our dependencies.
Awesome. Yeah. I think any app that has spent a lot of time on the aesthetics, it often pays dividends in the usability, because people just are finding it less stressful when you've got a clear interface that looks nice. They're not having to deal with a user interface with too small text or really sort of nasty, janky visuals. I think it can really help. And I really liked the.
I think that's why the Compass Navigator was such a good project as well. that you did, Faisal, because it's like you said, right? A compass has a built-in like flat tree, but like it's nothing compared to being able to drag and see the bigger picture. So I love that sort of tool. It's brilliant.
Yeah, something to be said for good UI, really. And yeah, no, thanks for showing that. And I think your sort of chosen non-winner got a good free demo out of that as well, Jack. Fantastic. And yeah, so the last section really we'll cover, and I mean we're actually bang on time, which is actually quite unlike me, so we've done quite well. So the last section is advice for future participants and more open discussion about whatever you want to discuss about, whether it's your app, Codegeist, the Atlassian community, or just the space as a whole. So yeah, I think maybe we'll go with the same route again. Julian, is there any advice you have for future participants? And yeah, just add on anything else you'd like to talk about.
Yeah, sure. I think there is no secret recipe to win a hackathon like Codegeist. However, what I can share about my submission is that I really didn't have a lot of time to implement the app because I had a table in a co-working area in in Lao for one day, like 8-9 hours, with proper Wi-Fi. So this was the time when I had the time to implement the app. But what I did have the days before is a lot of time thinking about a proper idea. And I think that is something that future people who want to submit something should know about, because I think it's more about the idea than about the actual implementation. I think they don't even need to see the code anymore. So it's not about the perfect implementation. It's really about the question if a submission is unique and really solves a problem that every Jira and Confluence user is aware of. And this is another thing I think Atlassian is another thing that is important for Atlassian, is that it's an app that many people could use if it were available on the marketplace. And I think with my submission, Runbooks, it has this topic Runbooks, and this is familiar with many Jira users, and it's also familiar with people on the other side who just raise issues in Jira. So everyone can quickly see how this can be useful. And I think that is important for Atlassian. I don't know how they vote for the different submissions, but I can imagine that it's a tedious job to rate like 200 or 300 submissions. Which brings me to another point. I think you should really spend some time doing good and easy screenshots and a good video, because you should stand out within the first seconds, I guess. That the app is really powerful is good, but this can be part of the text, and which is the place where you can also highlight all the different features. But I think someone who is at least familiar with Jira and Confluence should understand very quickly what the app is able to do within seconds rather than minutes. And I think that's an advice I can give people who want to submit something this year.
Brilliant. Yeah, I completely agree. It's with the Codegeist submission, it's as much about the marketing efforts as the app, or maybe not just as much about the marketing, but it does play a big role. Yeah, over to you, SaaSJet. How would you suggest any advice for future participants?
Yeah, I thought about it, and I think that's first thing that I would suggest is get prepared well. I mean, to have a time to prepare the screenshot and the video materials and the app itself. So do the focus on some visual materials like design on the app and all the like video, etc. So I do believe that the people who do the judgment, so they should that must be easy for them to understand what this submission is about. And even if it's some technical things that for the engineers, for example, for the development team, it must be really really clear for them to understand how it can provide a value. So now the next thing is to do it in a kind of milestones. So for example, in our case, we separated the project into some phases. So now we run some discovery, then we did the development part, and we tell ourselves that once we are done with this, then we can submit. If we fail, so we don't have any time just to continue it, because that's going to be poor submission at the end of the day, and we just spend some time. So yeah, we just put it on the kind of, so we are working on the development phase until this date, and if it's done, then we go to the next. If failed, then probably no sense to continue. So the third thing is to and what I probably see here, that the many people are talking about own experience. So I do believe that's much easier to implement something that you personally have the problem with, and the people around, or some people in the team can tell you this is the problem, and then can show you the details of this problem, and you can once you have some prototypes, you can validate whether it's what can potentially solve this problem. So the next thing is to innovate. So try to do something extra, not just as simply as possible, but to put at least some small innovation detail that can kind of increase your chances to provide a wow effect. So it can be raw, or it can be like last year it could be raw, but next year it can be something different, right? So not AI, but probably AI, but in another way. But I do believe that there must be something that you can focus on, and the people who are reviewing it may say, "Oh wow, no one tried it before. It's awesome." And the last is actually make it a bit funny for the team, not to, but anyway, result oriented, but make it not just another project within the company or within the team, but just a bit more kind of to give people just to be creative, right? Because in these hackathons, right? So in my opinion, it should not be that, for example, excellent from the QA point of view. So you can give your team chance not to fix every possible defects there, UI defects, etc. So I think that if they have more time to be creative and to provide a great result, this whole experience, especially if the team wins, will be the really good experience for the whole company, and a very good point for them to tell everyone that, as a team, we run this difficult project within a very tight timeline, and we did a great job. We win, even not win if just participate, but get a really good feedback. So, and this fun, and anyway, the result oriented can make a really motivation story within the organization.
Fantastic. That was a really great answer. Yeah. So 4 really great points there. Keep it funny. Keep it creative. The next point was phased development, so that you're not kind of developing the next phase, and then if that fails, then you still got the last phase to submit. Innovation hooks like Rovo, and then solving own real world problems that you personally have faced really adds a lot of authenticity to the reason why you're making the app. Very good answers. And then let's go to the next, to Vasil. let's get a quick advice for future participants. I know that we're nearly getting to the hour, so yeah, Basil, any future advice?
Yeah, I can't disagree with anyone mentioned, so fully agree on that. That was stated. Like from my side, nothing much to say, but a few things worth to say. Like first one is not spend a lot of time on aesthetic things and like super high quality code. So because like nobody asked me to share like with the source code, and yeah, and for me it was really how to say, just like sadly to know that another thing that everyone is agreed on, that video and visualizing your product matters a lot. So like if we take a look on the previous submissions from the guys, like almost everybody I used to provide like pretty straightforward and generic video with no like video presentation of your product. And yeah, also that the last but not least, that you have to delegate with the current main job, because 2 jobs simultaneously is a really pain in the neck. So like plan in advance your development plan, and also like think with your current job if you do have.
Yeah, that's an interesting point. If you're doing another current job, being able to kind of schedule yourself to fit that in around it is
Exactly
tricky. But when you've done that effectively, it can really pay off. Over to you,
yeah.
Jack.
So you
Oh, sorry. Anything else to add?
no, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, over to yourself, Jack, on advice for future participants.
Yeah, I've got some sort of more broad stuff and then some just simple things. So I think first of all, echoing what you've all basically said is, it's 1/3 the idea, it's 1/3 the implementation, and then it's 1/3 the page that you put together. That's how I see it. Like you need all 3 of those really to get a win. So that's going to be things like you can include images within your submission, but you have to host them somewhere else. So use GitHub, just put the images onto GitHub, and then use Markdown to put the images into your submission. And it kind of makes it less of just a big block of text, right? It's broken up a little bit. Spend time on the video. I think if you're comfortable, get a video with yourself in it, like demonstrating the product, because having a face to put to a project, I think that definitely helps. I would start with an MVP. I would not like try and build the biggest thing in the world. Like you all said, don't be a perfectionist. The idea is it's more about the idea than the button being the right color of blue. And finally, I think I'd say leverage the Atlassian developer community. If you have questions on how to do things, there's a whole community of developers that will, I'm sure, happily help out and give you advice. But above all, just pull the trigger and give it a go, and you could be rewarded with some of the prizes. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, just do it, as Shia LaBeouf says. Yeah, fantastic. Yeah, I think it's a lot about the kind of just the motivation to just give it a go and see what happens a lot of the time. And yeah, echo what you're saying about kind of that split, third and third and third. A lot about the page. Fantastic. Well, yeah, that's all the topics discussed, and yeah, we're almost bang on the hour. So yeah, thank you for everyone for joining. It's been really, really great to chat and hear all your sort of topics discussed. Really gain some insight into your processes and trials, tribulations, and hopefully anyone who watches this, if I've recorded it correctly, of course, will get some good insights into their future submissions as well. So thank you all for joining, and I think, Jack, it's probably about time for you to catch your plane, isn't it?
Yeah, I need to run to get my flight, but I just want to again congratulate everyone on your win. You did amazing projects. It was really nice to see them all, and thanks for joining as well.
Yeah, congratulations, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Have a good day, guys.
Brilliant. Have a good day, guys.
Bye-bye.
You too.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. See.
Have a good day.